Hello YouTube fans, here again. I don't know if you can hear me because there's a lot of beeping downstairs. The washing machine's just turned off and it goes off, it always goes beep, beep, beep. Hopefully it'll shut the fuck up. But that's not why I'm speaking. When it comes to movies today, I've added a test to talk about this film. Buster. This is a Snyder CD copy. Cover that. Buster from 1988 starring Phil Torrens, my mate. So I like Phil Torrens. I mean, I remember some of his songs in the golden days of Generis. If I'm going to have to name right, not Generis. Generis, you know. I can love you, always remember of my life. Turn it on again. I remember all the songs. And think about it, this is his second acting role. What do I mean by his second acting role? Well, as you may remember, or not, in the days of Miami Vice, and people thinking, what the fucking Miami Vice got to do with Phil Torrens? Let me speak. Well, the days of Miami Vice, Phil Torrens made a test appearance in one of the episodes of Miami Vice. And in all fairness, he's there, but his acting talents weren't really that great. To me, it was just Phil Torrens making a test appearance in Miami Vice. Wow. They were all doing it in that era. Think about it. Think about it. In the 18, you had Boy George make a test appearance in an episode of the 18. You probably had an episode where another well-known star made a test appearance in Miami in Magnum. I was in Miami Vice, but I said Magnum. So you had one well-known singer or actress make a test appearance in freaking Magnum. So it wasn't really a new thing. It wasn't really new. But saying that, and sorry about the shouting just then, but yeah, I was about to say, yeah, so this was Phil Torrens' second chance of doing his acting role. His second chance of doing his acting role. And as we all know, Buster is based on a true story. It's based on a true story. If you remember the golden days of the 60s, the 1960s, there was a well-known chain robbery. You know, the well-known chain of the bank got robbed. And him and his gang robbed a train, right? And they went on the run. Now, remember rightly, they went to Acapulco, which is a state song in it called If You're Going Down in Acapulco, If Your Day's Too Long. Well, it was in this film. And there's a few songs here and there that Phil Torrens sings, like You've Got a Goofy Type of Love, and so on. I mean, think about it, it's a love story with him and his wife. It's a love story with him and his wife. And it's like, you know what I mean? The only thing is with this film, the only thing with this in this film is the end of the day. The end of the day, they make the character out Buster to be this likable rogue type of guy. Yeah, he's a bit of a starrer. He's robbing things, he's stealing things, and so on. But the real Buster was definitely not that nice in real life. But it's a film. I went with it, and I know it's a true story, and so on. But there are some beautiful bits where he's in Acapulco, and he's with his dancer mate, and so on. I mean, they plan to do a chain robbery, and they get away with all the loot. They get away with all the loot. And to cut the story short, he's getting homesick. He feels it's not the same being in London, and so on. His wife's had enough. She fucks off, goes back to London, and he's stuck in Acapulco. So it ends at the end where he goes back with his wife. He gets caught by the police and he goes to prison. Then you've got the idea, it's 20 years later. He's now an old man, he's working on a flea market, a bit like Del Boy, doing a bit of wheeling and dealing. He meets his wife, they walk off, she tells him to behave himself. He smiles and winks at the audience, we get it. And it walks off again with a Date Phil Torrens song. So Buster, what can I say about it? What can I say? It come out in 1988 and it was a big hit. I do apologise for the shouting downstairs. Someone was shouting and bawling, but there you go. But like I was about to say, it come out in 1988 and it was a big hit. You know what I mean? It was a big hit based on a true story about the well-known chain robbery. You may remember it in the 1960s. And it's like I said, even though the real Buster was not this nice, friendly character what they made out in the movie version, I do like it. I do think Phil Collins really does a good performance in this. He nails it to the part. He plays a really good role in it. plays a bit of a starry, I get it, in its suit from American. It starts off right. Starts off where he's walking in London. I like the way they make it look like the 60s, like most of these type of films. And he sees a mannequin in a shop and he falls a bid in it and he steals a suit. I don't laugh because, I mean, he steals someone's belongings, but he steals a suit and he does a Donald Pump, runs off. So you get the idea he's a bit of a starrer. But then, like I say, they're planning on robbing a train. And like I say, there's a lot of good songs in it. Like I say, Down in Acapulco, a lot of songs that Phil Torrens sang to the movie Buster. And like I say, it's based on a true story. You've got these here, like I said, there's a love scene here, him with his mate and Phil Torrens, if you can see it proper. It's like I say, for Phil Torrens' second acting role, I've got to admit his acting got better. And I do know in a lot of the over the years, he's been in a lot of other films and all, Phil Torrens, whether he makes guest appearances in other pole dances, or he do other films where he played a similar sort of character. But this to me, being Buster, had to be the best role he did. It was a role that proved that he's not just a singer, he also has a talent in acting. Because in all fairness, I've seen some people in the music business, and in all fairness, they should just stick to singing. That's how I see it. They should just stick to fucking singing, because acting is not their forte. Big fucking word for me. But it's true, the acting is not their forte. But in this, I think Phil Torrens, seeing this is his second role from Miami Vice, I don't think he did a bad job in this. If you can see it, because the camera's pretty blurry there. I don't think he does a bad acting role. I mean, he plays the character Buster. Again, it's a true story about the famous train robbery. I mean, there's a few little love letters here and there. There's a bit where he's watching TV and he's going on about the Saint, which I remember talking about the Saint, the book. So I sort of like that little love letter. There's a bit here and there where they're down to avoid the tax man, which I sort of had a few laughs and chuckles. And I hid him underneath the settee from the dreaded tax man, which I thought that was quite laughable. And it's like I say, a bit of a starrer, it's a bit of a hug, but the character who he's playing, Phil Torrens, you sort of like get to like the character. All right, there's a bit in it where he slaps his wife. I don't agree with that. Whether that happened in real life is a different story. But I do know in real life, like I said, without repeating myself, the real Buster was not a friendly character. In real life, he was a bit of a thug, a bit of a dancer, and so on. Whether that's true or not is a different story. But nevertheless, I still think Phil Torrens nails it to the park. I think he nails it to the park. He plays a lovable sort of character in it. He's a bit of a starrer, a bit of a scoundrel, a bit of a tap the lad. But I like the character Buster. Like I say, in 1988, this was a box office hit. This was a big hit film in the golden days of the late 80s. It was. And like I say, without being myself, there's a bit of comedy in it. It's arts on its sleeve. You get to feel the love between these two. And I think Phil Torrens, as a singer, doing an acting role based on a true story, because in all fairness, you could have just had a well-known actor play the role of Buster. To take a chance from a singer, basing it on a true story, I think he nails it to the part. I think it nails it to the bladding part. But into them people, be smart, be safe. I'll see you later for some more movies and more movie reviews. And fuck it, why not? A 10-star rating from me.